Today we've got the 2010 Mazda 3 hatchback. Base model. Oh yeah. Hello, welcome to Road to the F1. I'm Paul Anderson. Today we've got episode number 3. We are meeting people online, we're reviewing their cars, and we're working our way towards the McLaren F1. So if you or a friend have got a car you'd like to see on the show, you can send me a DM, fire off an email at roadtothef1@gmail.com, and we will get your car on the show. So today, yes, the Mazda 3, 2010 Mazda 3. The technical name for this car is the Mazda 3, making it the Mazda 3. Kind of like the Ferrari LaFerrari, only completely different. The 2010 model year for the Mazda 3 was a year that brought on a whole new styling package over the previous year. Largely the powertrain remained unchanged, but the styling was completely revamped. And I've got to say, the designers knocked it out of the park on this one. Or whatever Japanese equivalent is of knock it out of the park. Dominate the dojo? We'll go with that. The designers dominated the dojo with this one. This car is 10 years old at this point, and it still, in my opinion, is a very nice looking car. Great lines, very sporty, very aggressive. They did a really good job. Believe it or not, when this car first came out, the styling was actually kind of controversial with the very large front grille. They're pretty commonplace nowadays. Most cars have these massive front grilles. But back in 2010, that was actually kind of a rarity. So it was a love it or hate it kind of thing. So pure speculation on my part, but this might be the car that started the trend of the massive front grills. Anyway, moving on. Other styling things that look really great. There's this nice seam that runs across the whole side of the car, giving it a nice, aggressive, sporty look. The front headlights look great. The tail lights look great. The profile, very nice looking. I am a fan of this car. It's a good looking car. Interior wise, this is the base model, and I gotta say, for a base model interior, it's actually really nice. The instrument cluster is good, nice big tack, nice big speedometer. The center console is nice and big, nice big dials. Everything's easy to read, easy to reach. They really did a great job on this one. One thing I don't like about the interior is the view out is actually not that great. I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'6", 198 centimeters for the Europeans. So I'm kind of used to having to duck down to see past the rearview mirror to see cars. But in this car, it takes it to a whole new level. The A-pillars are really quite thick. The rearview mirror is quite low. The roof, the ceiling, comes down quite low as well, so the view out for a guy like me is not great. And with the high sills on the doors, plus the really large side mirrors, the view out looking out the passenger side to the right is actually really not very good. If there were a passenger sitting here beside me right now and I needed to look for cars coming that way, it's not easy to see. You really have to pay attention to what you're doing. The A-pillar and mirror combination is so big, an entire car, or very easily a pedestrian, could be hiding behind there and you wouldn't even have a clue. So something to watch out for with this car. Other than that, though, I do quite like the interior styling of it. Now, you may have noticed, so far I have not done any driving, and that is for a very good reason. I'm kind of staying still for the most part, so I don't have to subject you to this really terrible rattle coming from the back. But we're going to take this for a spin anyway, and I apologize in advance. So being the base model, this car is equipped with a 2-liter inline-4, churning out 148 horsepower and 135 pounds-feet of torque. That's plenty for going around town, doing some commuting, taking the kids to the mall, whatever. And you know, it's got some pep, I suppose. This car is fitted with a 5-speed automatic transmission. It also comes with manual mode. It has a technical name I totally don't remember right now. But it does come with a little manual mode where you, pedestrian, You just pop it over to the side, like so, and all of a sudden you're kind of driving a stick. More of a sequential gearbox. Pull it back to go up the gears, push it forward to go down. It's kind of nice. You know, I got to be honest, on a day-to-day drive, I can't imagine I would use that all that often, because I would think you just get used to driving in an automatic and you wouldn't really worry too much about it. But yeah, it's a nice little feature to have. Steering on this car is actually quite nice. Just driving in a straight line, you move it a little bit and the car wiggles ever so slightly. It's very responsive steering. Suspension-wise, it's on the stiff side, but you know, being a sports car or trying to be a sports car, you're going to expect that kind of thing. So yeah, it's actually a nice little car. Driving around town, that 148 horsepower, totally fine. But out on the highway, not fine. Not fine one bit. I've really noticed that there's a noticeable lag when you push the gas pedal down. The throttle response is, there's no response. You got to kind of poke it and see if it's still alive. You put your foot down and the car thinks about accelerating. Eventually it gets there, but it's surprising to say the least. For a car that around town has lots of get up and go, on the highway, it's not going anywhere. And I've also noticed driving uphill is a severe lack of power. It's strange. You know, you'll be going 100, you put your foot down, the car makes an awful lot of noise like you're really doing something, but you look at the speedometer and you're not really doing anything. The speed's going nowhere. It's very, 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 very slowly climbing up, which you would think with all the noise this car generates, you'd be doing something, but you're not. It's very odd. That might just be down to the fact that this car is 10 years old and is just not the vehicle that it used to be, which is entirely possible. But it seems like it also could be something to do with the powertrain. The transmission's just sitting in a higher gear than it should be, and it needs to go down a gear to really give you the acceleration you need, and the transmission's just not realizing it. I don't know. It's kind of disappointing because, you know, from the exterior, this is a very sporty and fun-looking car, but when you actually get it up to speed, it is not a lot of fun. It's more frustrating than anything. So you know what? On that point, I think we'll call it a show. The 2010 Mazda 3. On a scale of 1 to F1, well, this car is getting a 1. Maybe even a half, I don't know. Styling-wise, great. Zoom factor, I think the ads lied to me. There's not a lot of zoom. So there you have it. We will see you next time. And hey, welcome to my 19th annual Christmas beer.